Hi everyone, welcome back to Rise Up Insurtech. My name is Tyler, I'm a journalist here at the FinTech Times, and today I'm joined by Akshay. How are you?
Fantastic. It's onset of spring and we've had very good sessions in the morning. All doing good.
It's been good. And are you enjoying the event as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I think some very good conversations on how technology is disrupting, insurtech and insurance as an industry.
Lots of disruption happening today, which is very good. So Akshay, why don't you introduce yourself? Who are you? Where do you come from?
So my full name is Akshay Chandra. I head innovation for insurance and wealth management sector for UK and Ireland geographies for Tata Consultancy Services, short TCS.
Well, that's really interesting. Thank you for sharing it with us. So I think today is all about insurance, technology, how do they work together, how do they work separately? We're covering a lot of different aspects of insurance today. So maybe you could possibly start, like what insurance do you serve a specific sector of insurance?
So not exactly, we cover the whole spectrum. I think I can almost slot them into 4 categories. So the first is life, anything to do with life, so life, pensions, annuity, health, so that's one sector. The second is general insurance, which is personal commercial lines. The third sector is most of the life and pension insurers are now almost gravitating into a new avatar of investment management firms. So that's the third sector. And the fourth sector is wealth management, which is in essence individual wealth management. So micro saving strategies and so on. So all of these 4 sectors, we have a lot of marquee customers in UK and Ireland.
And how long have you been in the market for?
More than 15 years now.
Oh wow, yeah, so you're quite established, very established indeed.
Oh well, me personally, but from TCS standpoint, we are 50 plus years in the industry, and therefore we really have pole position in insurance in UK and Ireland as well.
Oh well, that's brilliant. That's really interesting to hear. And you talk about being around for so long in the industry. But I think that the pandemic has really been massively influential.
Absolutely,
to Insurtech. I mean, what's your view on that? How has it changed Insurtech?
So I think it has actually been quite positive from digital adoption, from technology adoption, and from actually Insurtech sector itself getting a lot of funding from. I think there has been a record funding that has gone into the sector, and also it has enabled customers who erstwhile, especially insurance has been a boring sector. It's nobody buys insurance is sold, right? So that puts a lot of onus on technology and on insurers and on Insurtech sector to kind of make the technology very relevant, and also to make the technology such that insurance becomes closer to people, in different ways. And therefore, I think if anything, pandemic has accelerated technology adoption, and therefore Insurtech industry is very squarely based at the center of it.
Oh, definitely. I mean, it's been a time of such uncertainty, hasn't it?
Absolutely.
People really want to get as much protection as they can.
Yeah.
So I think it really is sort of to be expected, I guess.
Yes, I suppose. Again, if you look at saving sector, if you look at protection, individual protection, look at health sector, what the pandemic has made people realize that uncertainty is there is unknown unknowns, but the unknown can be tomorrow. And that's what the pandemic has actually brought to light, and therefore it is important for all of us as individuals and also insurers to impress upon the individuals how important it is to save for a rainy tomorrow, how important it is to actually increase your voluntary contribution, to look at your retirement, to look at your healthcare quite differently, because during pandemic we saw how the care sector and the NHS came into so much of pressure. And therefore, I think it has shown how important it is to put in investment into this sector and to make it adopt more technology.
Well, it's really interesting that you say that. And just a bit earlier, you were talking about all of the different elements that your company offers and all of the different solutions that they've brought, and how these have sort of been exacerbated by the pandemic. Which is, I think, maybe a natural turn of events. But what I'm really interested, if we actually flip the question on its head, I mean, what's missing? What we have all of these solutions. What's missing right now from Insurtech?
I think from an Insurtech standpoint, there are two things. One is adopting these agile-born companies and the innovation that they have done. Scaling them up and making sure that they reach the masses. And the second aspect is almost to put a wrapper of, ideas are great, innovation is great. However, to scale them up, to make them secure, to make them accessible to people, there is a lot of mile to be covered there from a cybersecurity standpoint, and from also cloud adoption standpoint, making it reach the masses. I think that is the next gen from an Insurtech journey standpoint.
Well, what I'd really like to touch on is you just mentioned things about cloud technology and about different forms of technology that are assisting these solutions. Is there any specific form, maybe one over the other, that of technology that you've really seen answer the prayers of the consumer?
I think it's a combination, really, and you should think of it as pieces of jigsaw coming together to make a good picture. So if you look at multiple layers, so the core platform which kind of keeps the customer's data, which does the actual servicing, that is not disrupted too much yet, but that is also a matter of time. But then how accessible the data is to the end customer and to the insurer through digital medium, through containerization, apification, making it available on the cloud, so that earlier, even a couple of years ago, we all had to wait for overnight batches for your money to get reflected in the account and vice versa, and now all that is changing, so that there is online updates. And I think insurance banking industry is all gravitating more towards retail. How you shop in Tesco's and how you shop in Asda's is how insurance and banking is coming to be. Is it there? Not yet, but is it gravitating towards that? Definitely yes.
That's a really interesting way to look at it, I think. And you said at the beginning of our interview that insurance is never bought, it's sold.
Yeah.
And I think it's really interesting to consider how avant-garde forms of technology are interacting with insurance to sort of change how it's interacted with and how it's adopted and sold, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
I think it's such a promising time for the industry.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now. And I would just like to know, we mentioned at the beginning of the interview the last 3 years, but where do you see the industry being in the next 3 years?
I think there is going to be, as I said, adoption, which is key. Adoption of the technology and the innovation that is there here so far and which is on the journey. And the next 3 years, we will see a lot of momentum in wealth tech and in well-being tech. So physical well-being, mental well-being, financial well-being, and all of this with an undertone of sustainability, with an undertone of how do we create propositions which are good for the world, good for you and me. That is where the next 3 to 5 years there will be a lot of disruption, and rightly so, because there is no plan B for carbon and climate change. There is only one plan, and we've got to stick to it, and we've got to make technology count.
But there's only one plan and one planet,
Absolutely. One plan and one planet.
Well, I think you're exactly on the money with what you've said in terms of like ESG, and especially it's become such a big demand from the consumer. For ESG, and especially, as you said, well-being. In light of the pandemic, I think people are really starting to think about their health.
Absolutely.
And thinking about safety nets, if anything. Definitely. And hopefully we'll meet again within the next 3 years, and we can reflect on
absolutely
our predictions.
Absolutely. That would be fun.
That would be good. Well, thank you so much for joining me
today.
And I really hope you enjoy the rest of our events.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you very much.